Waz, just wanted to get your initial thoughts on San Diego and just what you've seen from them in their 6 or 7 games that they played this year.
Good club. They're, I think, a well-coached team. They play with energy. They've got, specifically a couple of arms that are really good and have been impressive on the tape, and I think they'll play fundamental baseball.
They got 6 guys right now who are hitting over 300. Just from their offense, what have you seen? What would you like your pitching staff to do against them?
Well, throw strikes and get ahead of hitters. They did in week 1, they did it in week 2, and it makes it a lot easier when you just stick with the basics of the game. For me, it's the Costello kid, National Player of the Week, I guess, a week ago, and he's got 5 home runs on the year. I know they lost yesterday to Irvine. Got a chance to watch that game. But nevertheless, it was, for me, they've got an offensive group. They've had a couple of scores get pretty crazy, specifically against Nebraska, I think, in a tie. They got a little out of hand on both sides of it. But nevertheless, they're a good club, and I think they'll be well coached.
You mentioned Costello. He's got an .862 slugging, 5 home runs, like you said.
Yeah.
Just how much do you try to game plan around a guy like that?
Well, you game plan around their whole lineup. If you put too much interest in one guy, then somebody else can get you. They've got more than one player that's good. The Sim kid has been fantastic as well. And he's a very, very steady player. That's an old guy. He's got a lot of at-bats under his belt, and he's a guy that's going to get hot and hit real well too. So you can't just game plan around one guy, but having a game plan that understands how good one guy has been going is key. Yeah.
Looking back to last year, what sparked the turnaround after the 0-3 start?
You got to understand, baseball is kind of it's a long season for baseball. It's not like a football season where it's, one game and then you only play 10 or 11 or 12 games on a season. It's a long season, and so you can have a good weekend and it doesn't mean a whole lot. You can have a bad weekend and it doesn't mean a whole lot. It's really about last year when you're in a situation where you play 2 games, you don't play well. The 3rd game you play well and you lose, and then the 4th game you put up a bunch of runs, and then you get going, you get hot. I don't know. It's hard to explain why things happen, but I think it usually gets tied into whether you're playing fundamental baseball or not. And if you are, you're probably got a chance to be on the right side of the scoreboard more often than not.
I would like what you've seen from practice this week.
We've had 1 practice this week. I love what I saw yesterday. Yeah.
That was kind of what I was going to say. How has your team responded after getting swept?
Well, there's a lot of disappointment. We didn't play well. We know we didn't play well. It was really obvious. Coaches shouldered the blame for that one. And so from us, we needed to improve as a coaching staff and getting our guys prepared. And so we focused on that. And we had a tremendous day yesterday at practice, and looking forward to getting out there today.
What are some of those offensive philosophies for coaching? What did those change for this week? What are you trying to work on?
No, I'm not going to get into the details of that, but there's a lot of interest in our entire game, improving the entire game, not just one area.
Gotcha. And for specifically, I guess, offensively, Jacob Walsh has had a tough start to the season. And what do you think is some of the what he's doing at the plate that's kind of wrong right now? And just, do you think he's pressing a little too much?
Yeah, it's pretty clear. He's trying pretty hard, isn't he? You watch him from the stands and you can see, just like I see from the dugout, the guy's got a lot of pressure on himself. The whys and all that kind of stuff, you can, speculate all you want. Bottom line is he's putting a lot of heat on himself. He's a really good player and a really good hitter, and we got to settle him down and get him going.
On the flip side, just from the pitching staff, I know the 10-0 game kind of got away towards the end with Gus Rogers in the game. Just what did you see from your freshman again this past week, excuse me?
What I thought you would see, depending on the week, when you're relying on freshman pitchers, freshmen are going to be inconsistent. They're going to show you what they did against the first week of the season versus Xavier. And man, everybody's talking about how great the freshmen were. And then last weekend, people are going, oh boy, the freshmen didn't pitch very well. Well, some of them did, some of them didn't. I think you're going to see inconsistencies with inexperienced people more than the experienced guys. The focus of us is more or less to try to get the guys that do have the experience to not be inconsistent. And I think that's going to be a big key moving forward.
The rotation, do you expect any changes, or is it still too early to tell?
Yeah, we haven't even discussed it yet in the office. So,
if Stoffel goes on Friday, is he still going to have a pitch limit like he did this past weekend?
Again, we haven't even discussed it. I would imagine so at some point. You usually don't come back after being tweaked or whatever in the weight room and then come back and be full go at 110 pitches or whatever the second start. I don't think that would be wise. So I'm sure there would be a consideration for pitch count. We just want to take care of our players the best we can.
Got a couple of injury questions. We saw Dominic Hellman get 1 or 2 ABs, but hobbled down the line, basically. Just how is he doing? What's his like return to a potential full role look like?
Day to day, and I mean, he's an impact player, and so obviously you want to get him in there as soon as you can and as much as you can. And so, things have limited him and maybe a couple other guys too. And when they're 100% and healthy, then we see those guys, and when they're not, we're going to protect them.
3 more guys to ask about: Mosiello, Arrows, and then Hunter Hyatt out of the pen. Just what are their updates for this year?
They're all day to day. There's been some good signs of improvement in those guys. But until it gets, until more time ticks, we figured out it literally is day to day. When we see a guy, Mosiello, for example, he throws an awesome side session yesterday, and you go, wow, maybe this guy's even ready to get going. Aon, he's through the other day, and wow, you're just going, wow, okay, this guy looks pretty dang good. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's some things that trend in the right direction, but you don't get too excited about them until they can go.